Good morning, everyone. It is 7:14 a.m. This is Purple Sky. This is Purple Sky coming at you with love and affection and just joy in all areas. I don't want to say that this is a hard topic to talk about that I'm mentioning today, but I guess it makes sense, in my opinion, for me to share with you my experience with meditation. I think that there is a high expectancy when it comes to meditating. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it's talked about much about what happens when we meditate, because it's an experience. It's not all about Zen and being cool and chillax. It's definitely an experience. An experience that I enjoyed. So I consider, let's talk about this, let's call this a love story. The idea of meditation came about when I was seeing Melanie, and I told her that I suffer with a lot of anxiety. I just worry so much about negative possibilities. I wasn't always as optimistic or positive. I come from a family that were very paranoid about a lot of stuff. I had to break that cycle for me. My first experience with meditation, just starting out, I wasn't focused on the end goal too much. In my mind, it was just, originally, it was a challenge. You can't do it. Yeah, I bet you I could do it. That was my mentality at the time. Yet still, it still had a very powerful effect on me. So we started out where the goal was to control my thoughts, that my mind doesn't wander as often, that I could live in the moment. So we started out with 3 minutes. I had to keep reminding myself to stay focused. I had to keep reminding myself because my mind would wander. And I say, focus on your breathing, focus on your breathing. It was a repetition, a lot of repetition when it comes to meditating, at least in the beginning for me, because it changes, but we'll get to that in a bit. Mind will wander, come back to my breathing, to the point that it felt comforting. I didn't feel alone. Like I could follow my breath. My breath was like my heartbeat. It was very interesting. So I kept at it. Was very excited about it. Not just that I can meditate, but that I was doing something intimate with myself. Eventually, I felt calmer. I could exist. And I was able to maintain my focus even more. Just with myself, though. I still had a problem staying intact when it came to other people, because there was still so much about myself I didn't understand. Remember, meditating was just a challenge that I felt I could champion. When I was able to meditate for an hour, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I don't need this anymore. That was a lie. That was a lie. So years, I'm getting comfortable. I didn't understand my behavior. None of it. I just remember the tranquility I experienced while practicing meditation. I just didn't know what else to focus on anymore because my anxiety, it diminished. I started to go out doing things that I wanted to do, going to the movies alone, which I think it was last year I read an article that says going to the movies alone is therapeutic. Started hanging out with friends more, speaking to friends more. It was a process. It was a process. At some point, I just stopped feeling happy. I don't know what it was. I was just annoyed with everything. And I wanted to reclaim that tranquility that I had when I meditated. So, took a few years, but then I got back into it. And it was an amazing transformation from what I had before. Rambling my mind about how to start out, it was just, should I go to an hour straight away or should I just set a time, which I did. I set a time. I said, what, let's start. This is a new start. This is a fresh start. Let's start with 10 minutes. We're good because 3 would somehow seem too short a time. And then 5 minutes eventually stopped feeling like not enough time. So I said, being that we're trying to build a relationship with this practice, let's start with 10. So that's what I did. What was the goal this time? I knew deep down that I just wanted to find my center. I knew why I wasn't happy, and it was about everything that was going on around me, not necessarily my personal life only, but just feeling alone again, not knowing how to speak up. But none of this was expected to change. Like, I didn't expect meditating to be a reason for a transformation for me. It wasn't what I expected. I wanted my Zen. I wanted my Shangri-La in Brooklyn. And then I started to feel lighter. Still attempting to stay focused, staying more focused, seeing where my mind wandered, and then the wandering mind became a conversation, where I would have the thought, maintain my focus with my breathing, and then after my meditating, whatever that thought was stay in the back of my mind. I had to develop a new way of writing in my journal because I was getting pissed off with that too. Like, all I would write about is all the things I want to do and all the things that I desire, instead of setting out a plan on what I can do to get from point A to point B to point C, so on and so forth. So I had to change that too. That's when I found out about positive affirmation. And even that, I had to slow my pace with that. Which, oddly, I just realized I like to do things at a slower pace, period. I don't like to rush into anything. But society made me feel, or I allowed society to make me feel, that it's a rat race. And that ate me up. Like, that devoured me. I like the slow pace. I am the turtle. Yeah. It works for me. Even that, I had to realize that Not everything works for everyone the same way. That's why, if or when you do decide to meditate, it may be a different experience for you than it was for me, or it is for me. But I was so intrigued by feeling lighter and building sentences because, before it was, I can do anything, I put my mind to, or I can move mountains. Before saying that I can move mountains, before accepting that I have the ability to move mountains, I would just say I can and leave it there. Why I say I like things at a slower pace, or why I do like things at a slower pace, because I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be afraid to die. I don't want to be afraid to lose myself in something that is good for me. And being afraid to die is inevitable. I know, at that point in time, when we're facing it, it is scary. But I'd rather be scared when that happens instead of before. You know what I mean? I don't want to be afraid before it happens. Let's get there. And that's the way that I look at life now. There's so much that happened with meditating for me where I'm kind of nervous to bring this up because I don't want to scare you away, but I did open my third eye. It started with shadow work. It's a term that was created by Carl Jung as well that I'm still getting used to. Where I met my image in the mirror, and we had a conversation where I told my image that I love her, and we hugged. She came out of the mirror and we hugged. The one where I'm sitting there meditating. I'm on no psychedelics. I know that I'm in my bedroom, on my bed, meditating. I know exactly where I was. And the vision was of me sitting above the earth in space. Yes. I'm gigantic, like humongous. I'm a giant. I'm sitting on a throne. And the throne and I are all plated in gold. Now, I don't like gold jewelry. Let's make that very clear. But I remember in the Egyptian Empire how important gold was, And that's when I said, I am powerful. That built my self-esteem to now. For a long time, I didn't like my laugh. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was a bit much. But I've been told by many people that my laughter is infectious. That it's real. That it's coming from somewhere. Coming from the gut, I love the sound of my laughter. My voice, this hoarse voice. I love the sound of my voice. And that's what it was. It became a love story for me, where loving myself no longer felt wrong or pretentious. Loving myself was going to my castle to sit down and have coffee, just to chill, play my Switch, having people look at me like I'm crazy because I'm gasping. It was hilarious. I made a guy laugh once. It was cool. He couldn't hold back his laughter. Those are the best kinds. But there's so much more. And I'm ready for it. there's so much more to experience, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I gotta get used to completing sentences. So, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments below. I'm willing to share. Subscribe if you like this video, as well as the others. And click the like button. I could use even more support, even though I would always appreciate the support I'm getting now. With that said, as always, love you.